and let me just get to where I'm. See. Okay, timeline. Yeah, let's start with timeline. So the timeline, because I kind of, on the agenda, I just figure I'd go through all the stuff, the different steps. Hopefully I can explain it to everybody. And please, if you have any questions, that's what we're here for. And if you have any ideas, anything you want to contribute, that's fine too. Suzanne and I tried to figure out as much as we could, and then I brought Brendan and Amy and picked their brain, but we can always, I'm sure, improve on this. So September themes, that's what we've been working on, and what I'm going to do is just kind of show you what we've been doing. Well, actually, I'll show that. I'll show you more in just a little bit. Let's just go through. As far as themes are concerned, when we first started talking about this, we are kind of talking about like biomorphic forms. I showed one of the things on the one of the examples that I showed was Stephen Huff, or was it Michael Huff? He does really cool biometric forms, and the stuff I liked about his is the fact that they protrude outside of the space. It's not so linear, but themes are open. The only thing, we don't want any words. Can't have any copyright issues. So we can't do anything with, of course, Mickey Mouse or any of the anime or anything like that. I know a lot of my kids were going down the anime road. Yeah.
And Suzanne had mentioned this is supposed to be the visual part of it, so no necessarily music references.
Right.
Because we're trying to make this a whole art experience, if that was correct. So
yeah.
the music as a theme.
I think that's what what's his face? Head.
Bill?
Bill. Yeah, he was kind of saying that.
I wouldn't be that restricted.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But it doesn't, just because it's Strathmore, it's not Strathmore, it's arts and music. It's not Strathmore, just music hall. So you don't have to do music.
Right. The point of this is showing visual arts at Strathmore rather than the performing arts, but this should be student-centric.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm not telling my kids what it has to do with. I said, okay, it's got to fit around something. We're going to stick them together. So we're going to build something yay high. How wide you build it is up to you.
Okay.
And don't give them any other information. You have to tell them where it's going.
Okay.
Do we? Is there a rule? You have to tell them where it's
No,
going.
It's how you handle it is completely up to you.
That would help. That would help with their mindset.
Yeah,
Let's keep them free. Keep them free.
My students, it's in their area, and most of them, that's their metro station. So I wanted them to take ownership of it.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Suzanne
Suzanne. And you're with the Strathmore? Can
am.
I just ask you, what's your vision of what you kind of were looking for?
I have kept from having a constraining vision. What I hope to have is a variety of visual experiences for people arriving on the Metro. And so I think that to the extent that these are all unique but aesthetically pleasing, perfect. It doesn't have to
When
be.
you think of overriding theme, are you thinking student-centric, county-centric, regional? What is your kind of...
When Stephanie and I first talked about it, she thought that the prompt would be something biomorphic or what have you. I think that...
But, yeah, we kind of stepped away from that.
This is a really great opportunity for students to go beyond the constraints and see what they can do. I would expose them to a lot of different visual stimuli and see where they're going at the beginning stages. Just so you don't have things that protrude like too far and won't be, from an engineering standpoint, viable. So does that help?
Yeah,
No,
what I was saying, it's easier to understand where you're coming from, then I can branch off from there, rather than me trying to influence where you should be going.
I think the most important thing is that the students feel as though there is some self-expression, I want them to really enjoy the art of creating while doing something that's
Keep in mind,
aesthetically
if you've been in
acceptable.
school lately, their self-expression is a cell phone. I mean, that's kind of,
I used the prompt,
Yeah.
I used the prompt the chief suggested, and I got a pretty wide variety of
Yeah.
stuff, just on the biomorphic and geometric. Because they have a natural, tend to naturally go towards one or the
Sure.
other in style, so I think I got a fairly wide variety. I thought it was a good prompt
Oh,
personally.
good.
I have students that want to do, I have students that want to build a tribute to millennials. They want something that is them. And I mentioned biomorph, you looked that up and you looked at other art movements. But that's what they came up with. They want to do something that represents the community that they live in, and that was the first thing they said.
Tell their story then.
Yeah.
Tell their
but I
story.
mean, I
right.
guess kids that want to do a craft, you want to do the Maryland, the
Right.
Montgomery County elements of the Montgomery County flag, the Maryland state flag, which is okay, but I also want to make sure they don't get so caught up that it's just a poster.
Yeah, well, the way I approached it with my kids is, what we first did is I said, I want you to go out and find stacked sculptures, examples of stacked sculptures, and I kind of put totem in there, but I didn't want it to just, because sure enough, I got a couple
Native
of just
American,
Native
yeah.
American totems.
Our
I'm like, no,
Northeastern,
don't give me
yeah,
that.
Northwestern.
And then I said, and I want you to go look at either, like themes or surface treatments, really interesting surface treatments. And so they had to give me each 3 slides, and so we went through that and we talked about it, and we've been looking at it for a while. And then we started, coming to some decisions, and then there were groups that were like, oh, well, we think how about this? And I'm like, okay, so who's going to draw it up? So I ended up, today was our voting day, and this is what we ended up with, is these are all our different ones. We put it out and we voted. And we had, we had conversations with them beforehand, and it actually came down to these 2 right here are, I think we're about neck and neck, so I'm going to have a runoff, I think. But when they voted, I said, okay, so you have to understand, I had some kids make this, random one just so we could show you guys what it was. I said, okay, you have to understand, it's going to be on a PVC pipe. The bottom one is going to be a square. So, when we do the drawings, this is what it looks like. The bottom one's going to be a square, and then you have 6 feet that can be broken up any way you want. I broke it up in 6. But I said, you can break it up any way you want, but you have 6 feet that you have to do something with. And whatever we decide to do, each school has up to 6 poles that they can do. And I want to have either a group of 3 or 2 groups of 3 or 1 group of 6. So whatever you vote on, you have to think, okay, are there enough geometric forms? They're doing the 2 that we have come down to, geometric forms with raised texture. Are there enough geometric forms that could fill 6 poles? Or habitats, rainforest, desert, forest. Are there enough habitats that we can do? And we talked about it before we even voted. And so this is what we've come down to, and now we have to decide, do we want to do 2 sets of 3 or 1 set of 6, choosing one of these things.
Now, are you just going to replicate the same design?
Each pole's going to be different.
Oh, okay, but they're
Each pole's-
going to be similar, you're saying? I don't understand when you're voting on, are you just voting on 2 styles to go with? or-
Whichever theme they're going to, yeah, they're overarching
So you're
theme.
trying to limit themes so it's not, each kid doesn't have their own theme if they want to design one of their own, or?
I have so many advanced kids that I have to break it up, and it's, there's 6 kids that are, there are 6 kids that'll do this one, 6 kids that'll do this one, 6 kids
Okay,
will
so
do
you're
this
just going
one.
to make one segment out of it.
Yeah, so each kid will be responsible for one segment.
Clarifying question for you. You just said each school, or is it that each school gets 6 poles?
That's how we figured it out as far as how many people,
Said
how many
yes.
schools,
and-
yes. Now, when it comes down to the jury process, the selection process, we'll have to see what we get. And, you know, some of that will be up to Strathmore Metro and all the people who will end up jurying.
Okay.
But we're asking for, you have up to 6 polls that you can put in.
Got
And
it.
each one will be on one piece of paper. So this is what will be turned in before Thanksgiving.
So you're only allowed to submit 6.
Right. Well, the thing is,
I-
I don't know if we, that was one
I
of
have
those
more
things,
kids
I was
than
thinking that maybe we could have, not make it 6 in case there's some that, you know, like Brendan, you were talking about, you had kids that wanted to do, you had 2 different themes or something, and maybe, I don't know.
The way that I was going to approach it was, like Wendy did, I was going to have kids design some on their own. Then the ones that got selected, then choose from the team of the kids that didn't get selected, and they use each other to
Okay.
create theirs. So like, say yours got selected, but Amy's and I's didn't. Sorry, Amy. Then you
Shit
chose
happens.
Amy and I. We are now helping you create your vision,
Okay,
and that's how I was going to approach it.
okay.
I think there's some flexibility there to be.
Yeah, there could be some,
Because
you know,
everybody has different number of students.
I mean, I think we should probably put a limit on how many, just because, so we don't have so many that we have to look at. But, I mean, probably, ultimately, it'll probably be 6 per school. But if a school, there's some schools that only want to do 1 or 2, they can do that. Because I know that there's some schools that aren't ready to do 1, you know, can only do 1 or 2, depending on how many students they have, or, yeah.
So we could choose to.
So
just
dividing
choose
my
3.
students up into groups of 5 and 6, I have 8 or 9. And so I assumed right off the bat that not all of them would maybe make it into the jury
Right.
process. And I already approached my principal about putting them around our school so that we can continue to make them all.
Yeah, that's actually what I would like to do the same thing. I'm
And-
just doing,
And I have actually built this before, but it was only about 5 feet tall, and I used rebar, and it's indoor. It's an indoor sculpture.
Yeah.
And I used a wooden,
right.
Base.
That was my concern. I mean, do we want to take a Saturday and actually try to build a full-size one? This is
Well,
what we're walking into.
I think
that's what I was
a
getting
great
to.
idea.
My problem that
I
I
was-
run into is I don't like kids make it thicker than 3/4 of an inch. We're talking some areas in some of these, it's going to be really massive. I would hate to get through the construction and then have it.
Okay, well,
Well,
one of the things that
I
we're
wasn't
doing.
finished. I was going to say that I have done this before, and I had originally had my children each assigned to 12 inches of height per person. And that was not the best idea. They
Mhm.
made one 12-inch piece, and it kind of got away from them, and it kind of looked unwieldy. The other thing is that if we do this outside, we're going to have to use an outdoor sculpture clay, and I've done outdoor sculptures before, and outdoor sculptures can be up to this thick if we use the outdoor sculpture clay that
Right.
Clayworks Supplies has.
We can't use that one, but anyway,
We can't.
no. I'll tell you why in a second,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, most outdoor sculpture clays you can make thicker than,
Right.
you know, than a half
Depending on
inch.
how broad they are.
Right.
And the other thing is like these right here, I had the kids do these purposely, where if you look on the inside,
Hollowed out parts
they
of it.
hollowed them out, okay? So, and like this one, they hollowed it out so it actually would drain out. I mean, we have to think about all those things. We can't have a place where the water can get in and pull. So, like this one, what they probably would do is make these hollow it out and then maybe just do a little hole so that it can drain out. I mean, those are things we do have to think about. I've been, reading
Stephanie,
way
this is
too
all
much about this.
stoneware, we're working with stoneware.
Well, see, that we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, because I do want to ask you about that, but can we come back to that? Okay, we'll start. I never hold in one place, just letting you know.
That's okay.
And Stephanie,
I think it's
before
the
you
sound
go on
thing.
to the next topic, I want to just make one comment. Note that these need to be aesthetically pleasing, not only up close, but from a distance,
Right,
remembering that people will be seeing them from the metro.
yeah. So themes, did I answer all the questions? I mean, does anybody feel like they need to ask me more questions about
I
themes?
just have a question about numbers. So how many are going to be in the final installation?
Well, see, that's actually, we got kind of thrown a wrench at the very end. We thought originally that there were going to be 24 available, 24. But then when we met with Metro, whose land it's actually built, they're like, oh, well, you can do it here too. And we're like, really? So I haven't gone and measured all the spaces the new spaces to know, but I will before, we do the selection process. So we will see.
Okay.
Sorry, that's not a
So-
definitive answer, but
Ballpark 24 then?
Yeah.
Is that the idea? Okay. And then the other question is, some of my kids already looked at making them in groups. So like triptychs was their first thought. So like,
right.
that's fine as well. Is
Well,
that-
as long as they fit on the, this
yeah,
is,
yeah, no, I'm saying like there'd be 3 poles together. Like so my
oh,
6
that's
to
what,
9,
yeah, that's what we were
2
planning.
groups.
So the way I've envisioned it is that as you're walking down the walkway, you'll have a grouping of like, oh, here's 4 from Richard Montgomery, and they all kind of go the same, and
Right,
here's
okay.
3 from, whatever. and-
So I was just trying to clarify for the submission process though, I wouldn't give like 6 different grouping.
You would
as a
give for
design
every
or
single pole,
one
you
single
have
pole.
one
Okay.
piece.
And
Yeah.
maybe note on there,
Yeah,
like,
the A, B, and
number
C
1
go
of
together.
3,
Right.
these 3 go together.
Gotcha.
Triptych.
Right.
That's what I was trying to
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we put them out, we'll be sure to put them out. This is,
Sure,
the set
I just
up.
wanted to make sure for the submission process whether I was doing
Right.
3 to a page or.
No.
Okay.
No, for each one, because it might end up, through, talking, going back and forth, that maybe also we don't have, there's too many of something, and maybe we'll take it only down to 2 of yours, and 2 of yours actually goes really great with 4 of hers or something, depending on how it's grouped together. So that's why I wanted them all on separate pieces so that we can
Mix
move it
and match,
around.
yeah,
And
sure.
actually, we could, take it on the walkway almost
Right, right.
and go, this is where they're gonna go.
Mhm.
I'm a visual person and that's why I have
think
to,
we all are.
yeah, I guess I am talking to,
The right room.
So I
The right
I'd say
room.
make sure it's just labeled on there. If it's like a 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3
Yeah.
of 3, yeah.
Cool, cool.
Okay, so November, so proposals due. So the proposal packet, you guys all got one of these. And the only thing I wanted to go over with this is I think I pretty much, what was wrong with this? Oh, the project criteria and constraints. Did anybody have any, when you went through that, did anybody have any questions about that? I think we pretty much just answered all of those.
Well, I had some technical questions about whether the diameter is the exterior diameter of the pipe or the interior diameter. I don't.
What you need to do
know
is
about
get yourself a
plumbing.
PVC pipe
Okay.
and look,
And then the
because
next
it's
part-
like, the 4 is 4.5 inches.
Right.
So,
Okay.
and the way I had my kids do this for me, it was great. It was so good for them to do this because they got it. But the bottom piece, you guys will have to make a bottom square piece, and then we're gonna take, the letter stamps and put the names of whoever on this in the bottom. And then, so the bottom piece will be square. And then however many you have, and then the one thing you have to do is you have to make, thank you. You have to make sure that the top piece is closed. It has to be a cap. Now, what you do as far as that cap,
I thought there had to be a cap that went on the pipe.
well, it can be like this.
No, but I thought there was a plastic cap up that went, in your drawing, it showed a plastic cap that went on the pipe to seal the pieces on. That's what I
But we
thought I
don't have
saw.
that.
No,
do that.
no, well, I think it,
And that's where I was trying to figure out, how can you put something there and still be able to fit a
No, I think
plastic
you ought to-
seal piece on
we'll
top?
put it, we'll seal the top of this, and then
So
why
the
don't you plan as your
plate
top
completely
piece?
cover
Yeah,
the- Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure of that.
yeah.
Okay, I misinterpreted that.
Right, so then there can be things coming off of it, as
Right.
long as the top piece sits.
Yeah, just remember that there is no security,
Yeah, I
so
know.
I, told my kids, that somebody was doing, one of those lamp lighter fish, whatever.
Anglerfish?
Anglerfish, that's it, with the teeth, and I'm like, okay, that's super cool, but if you have little tiny thin things, people are gonna wanna touch it, so if you see that, aren't you gonna go up and touch it, and it'll get broken, so you just, those are the considerations they have to make.
I
And
had
then my
one-
next question was, how are we sealing the pieces to the pipe at all, like epoxy, sealant? Or is it gonna be free moving?
Yeah, that I'm still working out, because one of the things that both Strathmore and Metro were interested in is if we epoxy it on, it's permanent. And if something gets broken, then, you know, that, the whole poles has been compromised. Whereas if we don't seal all of it and something down here gets broken, we could, you know, have some way of maybe sealing just the top or something where we could replace it. I don't know, so that's what I'm still trying to find out how other people handle it. So.
I had one group ask if they could make a section of it so that it functions as a birdhouse, so that birds could make a nest in it.
Oh, that's kind of a cool idea.
It's great.
Yeah,
So that works.
that's funny, yeah.
Is there
Actually,
a weight restriction?
huh?
Weight restriction on individual pieces?
Oh, you just have to think about it if it's gonna work. Yeah, I mean,
What can survive the kiln?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
We've structurally engineered the installations so that it can handle 50, 60 pounds of pipe, something,
yeah.
something like that. 8 pieces at 5 plus. And that's each.
Yeah,
So you said what total weight on the?
A minimum, I think, 50. I shouldn't say a minimum, but yeah, it can handle 50, 60. We're installing in cement with rebar process.
Okay.
And we're going to do we're going to try to do metal piping. That's where we need to just, you and I need to coordinate.
So the PVC?
Instead of PVC, because none will have a greater structural.
yeah.
You can run into it.
PVC.
You can
I
fill
won't
the
drive a
PVC
car
with
into it, but you can run into it, it's not gonna go anywhere.
We have to be mindful of our technical issue, which is you mold it on a PVC pipe, you put it in the kiln, it shrinks. So we have to find a piping system, an internal structure that, I mean, it's easy for you all to mold off of a PVC pipe, but we've got to figure out.
We'll work that out more. I mean, you won't be
They'll be
making the
secure.
final pieces until January anyway, but we will definitely have the clay materials and the shrinkage figured out before that. I have been talking to everybody from Archie Bray to Tennessee Tech to, yeah.
Great.
People are great.
They're-
It's really, yeah, the Archie
great.
Gray Foundation is
Yeah, I
amazing.
talked to one person who did something, they said once they left them kind of hollow and movable, then they filled them with a foam.
Probably insulation foam.
Yeah, insulation,
Right.
foam. They said it just made everything
That's a
solid at
great
that point.
idea.
Didn't
Keeps it
twist
from
and turn
shifting,
it.
and then they can
You
be
have to be
replaced.
careful because some
Then
of
they
them will overexpand, some of them will
Yeah,
really stress.
I've never thought to do something like that, and they just said they just sprayed it in, sprayed
Well,
it in,
that-
put the
that's
next
what
one on top,
plumbers
and then
do.
it actually held them. They said they didn't have to glue or do
Great
anything.
idea. Okay.
I mean,
That's a great idea.
That's great for the interior of the pipe.
Yeah.
But if we have
I
space.
just thought it would probably get expensive unless you get somebody to donate the funds.
That's always very good.
Yeah, but that stuff's not really that expensive, identical, you know.
I don't know, I've never
It
used
comes in
insulation foam
that
at all.
aerosol, and
Right.
it's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
The kids
Yeah,
that have
yes,
glass
we can
working.
sculpt it.
Maybe we can do some tests.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess, any constraints, if you have any questions about the constraints, just let me know. I think we try to be as fair, but as, we've talked it over and over again, we don't want to restrain you. We want to give you as much freedom as possible, but we also have to, there's certain things that we had to take into consideration, like the engineer and stuff like that. And also talking to Metro and talking to Strathmore. Metro's really our only, they're the ones that are saying no.
How do you feel about putting school logos on any of them?
We don't want any,
That's from my
text.
principal, she wants it on there.
How about on the plinth?
Yeah, you can have them on the
You can
bottom
do it.
part.
At the bottom part, we can put that, yes, she wants me
you
to
can.
incorporate
They can
our
sign it in.
logo into some of these, and I'm thinking,
That would just
okay.
The bottom
Yeah,
line.
so the bottom part is the square, the bottom 12 inches, you could do something like that.
12 inches.
Yeah, the
like
bottom,
12 by
if you
12.
look in here, it's the bottom 12 inches is the bottom base.
It's a 12-inch cube.
No, is there a bottom?
It's my
Is there a dimension, do you have a dimension for the bottom?
Is there a base on that bottom too, or is it open, there's a base with a hole?
Do you have a standardized base piece size?
Yeah, 12 inches,
12 inches, okay.
so.
12 by 12?
And duplication, in case something dies in the kiln, you don't want that the student then to know.
This is the bottom thing. So,
And then submission for the packet and the drawings, you have November.
yeah,
Do you have
so
a
it's,
specific date?
yes, it is the Friday before Thanksgiving. The Thursday or Friday before Thanksgiving. The
When will
19th.
you be submitting them?
20th
Huh?
is Friday.
When will you be submitting them? on that day? I mean,
No.
Okay, how, will you get a little advance so that you can check them, so if you have to send them back, say you need to make corrections, or you need something?
If you want to send them earlier than the 19th, well, I guess I could take it the week, you know, I can look at them. I'm not going to be here for the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can send it before, and then we'll talk about when we're going to have the
It'll
actual,
probably be the first week in December.
yeah, first week of December. So, yeah,
Okay.
there might be a couple, yeah.
So to you by the 19th then?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, and yeah, I won't be here. I didn't get a vacation this summer, so that's when I'm going on
Where you
vacation. Puerto Rico.
Stephanie, I have to leave, so I just want to
Okay.
ask one more question. I just forgot about what it was. No,
You can always
Oh my
email
God.
me.
Designs,
oh my God, I can't believe it, just,
The
I'll
base.
remember on my way
Yeah,
down the road. I'll email you.
Okay.
And ask you, it's totally gone.
Okay, it's okay.
I think I've got my head somewhere else, I gotta get out of here.
There's a question.
Thank you so
that
much.
Oh, sure.
Said you were gonna get answered towards the end, but I only had one concern personally, is I can't get any of my cones to fire over cone 6. They just
Okay,
won't.
so we'll get there. I believe, I've been, as I said, I've been talking to everybody
I
about
haven't
this.
heard anybody who's gonna go higher than cone 6.
No. So, okay, so in December, we're gonna do, wait, let me finish this. So we have the project criteria and constraints. There's where, oh shoot, the materials list. The reason why I included the materials list is I need to know what you're thinking as far as what you're, if you're going to bring color into it. So far, the one thing that definitely seems to work on the outdoor ones are Ingobes, like Spectrum and Amico. That's what I've gotten as far as my research. So if you want to add bright color, and of course there's a multitude of things you can do with stains depending on what your interests are. All right, but that's what the materials list is for. And then the step-by-step instructions, this is just any more information that we need when we're, you know, I don't know what that necessarily is. It's just if you have other things that, you know, like maybe your pieces need to fit in more like a puzzle, or, you know, what is it that, if there's anything special. Did she get an agenda?
thanks.
If there's any other special instructions that we need, this is the place on the packet that you can do it.
And sorry, just to backtrack real quick, you said Spectrum and what was the other company?
Amico.
Amico, okay.
You talking ungobes or are you talking underglazes?
Ungobes is what I have been told by multiple people, because not underglazes. Now, the underglazes might work. Shoot, standard anyway. Underglazes might work. It's just that the things that have been tested over time are the Ingobes, because it just, you know, I know that sometimes there's a couple of, like, there's a stupid blue underglaze that every once in a while, like 6 months later, starts cracking and popping off, which is so annoying. So, yeah.
Stains and oxides.
Stains and oxide, you know, it's whatever anybody feels comfortable with, you know. Okay, so stoneware versus, so this is the thing, I kind of need your guys' help on this. And I still have a couple of phone calls and emails out on this. This is where I've been talking to everybody all over the country. So originally, what is the clay that we used to up at Hood, the architectural clay, I can't remember what the name, 153 or whatever, huh? No, the 150, the heavily grogged.
153, yeah.
153.
Standard?
That's what I thought, oh yeah, sure, we can use that. But the thing is, in order to vitrify that, it has to get up to cone 10, and there's no way that anybody's kiln is going to be able to do that. Some people even have problem getting up to the cone 6, but hopefully, well, yeah. So the cone 6 stoneware, there's plenty of mid-range stoneware. that is available. There's one that people that I have been told works well for outside, but the only, why aren't my pictures showing? What is on this? Okay.
And I have a recipe for it that Kevin sent me from.
Okay, shoot, this image won't be, what, I don't know why my things aren't being displayed. There's one, it's standard 112, if you guys can take a look at that. Standard 112 has little flecks of black, which manganese in them. And it does show through glaze a little bit. If you put underglaze or engopes on top of it, of course it does cover it up because it'll be opaque over it. That was one option. I do have Standard just called me back. I've talked to Standard, Laguna, everybody. I'm thinking there might be another one that, as far as stoneware is concerned. I also talked to, what's his name, from Archie Bray. There's a lot of talk about how terracotta, if it's taken up to cone 1 or 2, is actually better than stoneware. And if you think about it, if you go up to the northeast, all along the northeast, there's all the tile roofs, all the trim on all the houses, you know, all over the place have survived for a couple hundred years with the terracotta. So the only thing with the terracotta that by the time you get it up to cone 1 or cone 2, it turns a pretty deep brown. So it does limit us, as you know, if people are going to do some kind of stain, if that's what you were thinking of. So that's where, you know, I have lots of things out there, and it seems like you know, if we're going to do like a buff colored is the 112, the standard 112, and then there's the standard 103, I think is the terracotta that's available locally. But the guy from Archie Bray, he said if we really want the terracotta, he's got this freeze-proof terracotta that he will make at Archie Bray if we will ship it. He's like, yeah, we don't sell it commercially, but you know, I can talk to somebody and we can make up a batch for you and get it to you.
If someone can mix the clay, I have a recipe. I have a recipe for another outdoor.
Well, I have his recipe that has been told, numerous people talk about. Is it Clausen?
I don't know. The one I have is for someone did outdoor sculptures in Minnesota. So I have a recipe from that, and he went to the Northern Clay Company and got the recipe from, I forget who the artist was.
It might be Clausen because that's the one that I keep seeing all over, and he's the one, you know, in Montana. That's what.
I think that I used 112 before for my MFA shirt hood.
The one with that you didn't like it.
I can't remember. Well, I only made a couple pieces with it, and I can't remember why. And I don't know if it was hand building issues with it because I did all slab stuff, but
yeah, she throws with it.
I use the 380 that goes to cone 10 that Clayworks sells.
Okay,
that fired it to cone 6, and sculptures are still outside 4 or 5 years later, not cracking.
Did the people?
Yeah, I did the people.
Did you put any glaze or coloring over it?
I put an exterior latex over it. Painted an exterior latex on it.
Is it in a protected place?
It's in a courtyard. It's in the courtyard. It's outside, so it gets snowed on. But I was going to make a suggestion. No matter what clay you choose or clay bodies you want to test, you should make them now and put them outside. Because it's going to freeze before January, then we'll know if it's going to crack.
Yeah, but sometimes things take, I mean,
they take years.
I've had a couple, you know, I have some terracotta pots that I had for like 5 years, and then last year they broke.
Right, so whatever you use, if you're using something new, you may not know.
Well, that's why I wanted, that's why I'm doing all this research, to try to find, you know, a good recipe that has been
You can also kind of speed that up and fake it by putting it in your freezer overnight, and then put it in your dishwasher, then put it in your freezer overnight, and then put it in your dishwasher.
Yeah, you could try that.
Each time you record it, because you'll get deep freeze.
It's true.
And like, I've also done tests where like the pieces I'll submerge in a bowl of water, so half of it's out and half of it's in. So you're also getting that torque constrain only half the piece.
The only problem I had with that clay body that with the
380.
Yeah, it's still in the courtyard, all the pieces are there, but if things weren't attached properly, if they were attached when it was dry, they're falling off.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah. I did a whole bunch of, you know, all the lizards.
Yes.
I have those in 380, but I took it up to cone 10, and they're not going anywhere. I mean, but I've
It's
fired
really
it,
groggy,
can't do-
so
yeah.
it's like
Well, do we
things
wanna
go
look
right,
at-
right through
If
it.
that's the case, we want to look at just either contracting or finding a local artist who has a gas kiln and just take them up to cone
Well,
10.
but I think, I mean, there seems to be
I
a
have
lot of
Do you have
mid-range.
one?
I have a
There's
concrete gas
mid-range piece, clay that we can use, and the terracotta, I mean, you can go downtown or go up north, you know, in Boston and stuff, and there's tile roofs and stuff that have been lasting for hundreds of years, so terracotta can work if we get the right recipe. I just want to make sure, you know, I just want to make sure we have the right recipe. But does anybody, I mean, the thing about the 112, it's buff, so it has, you can do more with the color. If we end up going with the terracotta, is that okay with everybody? It's dark, but it's,
It's tough to get color though. Can it really be
It's a
substantial?
problem because I use white clay.
Use what? Oh, white clay and white tools.
yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, for me,
Figure
being
that out.
colorblind, I don't really mind.
Good point.
Color's not my strong suit, so
Okay.
I'm good with stains.
All right. Well, is anybody else, I mean, do you have a preference? I
Because I'm
mean,
encouraging my kids to add color to this, assuming we will somehow be able to do it. But I found whenever I used the brown terracotta clay and added, say, a yellow glaze, it would just turn green. You wouldn't get that
Okay.
true look of the color. And the kids want, what they put on, they want to see it look like that. I mean,
Right.
so we could test stuff out, but it's going through a whole
I
testing
think
process.
When we went there and looked at it, we said we wanted something colorful.
Mhm.
So if we want something colorful, I think the terracotta should not be entertained because you lose a ton of stuff.
Yeah, you-
And I mean, terracotta is really nice when you use stains and you just do subtle colors. But for the distance that this stuff needs to be seen at,
It needs to be white.
it needs to be
Yeah.
probably a
Okay.
buff. Yeah.
so I should find a buff or a white.
So
all
the
right.
110 they said would work?
Well, the
Or
112
the
is.
112 I mean?
112 has been proven to work, and that's a cone 6. The only thing is it has those manganese things, which kind of messes with the glaze. So I am, that's why, one of the reasons why I called Standard is to see what they have. I'm calling the factory to find out what they have as far as, I'll find out what they have white. And would you guys, I would assume that we would want a heavily grogged clay. Is that, I mean, in order to do things that are, you know, going way out and stuff like that, that we would want something,
And to carry the weight too.
yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna continue, I will, of course, let you guys know as soon as possible, but
Have we talked about a porcelain or
nobody can handle a porcelain, firing porcelain.
firing it?
Well,
I mean, that-
and the one that goes to cone 6, you can't hand bill with it because that's what I did at Hood and it was a disaster because the seams all pulled apart.
I know it
It was great for,
warps.
it was great for throwing, but it didn't, hand building, it did not work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
nobody,
was
In
trying
theory,
pretty much
that should
everything
be
under
your
the sun.
strongest clay.
yeah, but there's,
Porcelain.
I mean, the things for outdoor, there's more than just the
I just worry with
strong.
the grog, that's when you get the, you know, the expansion, contraction.
Yeah, yeah, outdoor clay, there's other things that we have to deal with. One is whether or not it's vitrified enough, and then there's the absorption rate. It's got to be less than 0.6% absorption.
Kathy, when you did this, did you check different clays or did you just kind of go with the,
I bought the outdoor, I just called Clayworks and talked to them and said, do you have an outdoor sculpture clay? And used what they said would work, and it's worked.
what
I
was
didn't
your,
do
what
a
was your
lot.
experience?
I did a whole
Did you
lot,
have
and
any
each of the
troubles,
sculptures is
or
about 450 pounds.
Would you,
Wow.
any regrets with using that clay?
No.
Or,
No,
What was it again?
it was 380.
380.
I can tell you,
380?
I love
I'm on
that
their way.
clay.
I'm
That's
on
what
their way.
I
but
use.
it's orange. I mean, it's orange.
Yeah, but
It's like orange.
It's like,
It's
yeah,
that color.
it's,
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's
really-
like that.
how do-
so it's
But,
gonna
I
be tough
mean-
to get a good glaze,
I-
a
you know,
true
I don't
glaze
know.
over top?
No, I stained all mine.
Who
so
makes
I
it?
Standard. Now, you know,
But the
I don't
thing
want
is
to be
that-
responsible for everything falling apart,
Off
though.
color, they generally have one that's like, you know, 381 or 382 that's gonna be a buff or something.
Well, but this is specifically what they call their
Outdoor.
architectural clay.
Yeah.
The only thing is, because I actually called them about 380 because I was like, oh, well, that's what we'll use. I love that clay. But the 380, if it doesn't, they will not, they say if you don't take it up to 10,
it won't
that it
survive.
won't work outside.
Yeah, I don't wanna be
They don't
responsible.
suggest it because since it's not fully vitrified, that you really are,
Right.
it's so porous.
Yeah,
won't-
it is very.
Especially with the grog, yeah.
I also use high water red rock, but that's, you know, I
That's
use that.
super
It's
red.
great, yeah, it's really, takes glazes, but yeah, it's super red.
Yeah.
So it's just a straight up stoneware is not the best way to use, period.
Well, that depends on the stoneware. I mean,
Standard has a stoneware, I don't remember its buffer up, no, it's cone 4 to 6. So it's vitrified at 6 for honestly, 'cause it'll take glazes and whatever you put on it for.
That's out.
That's what I use,
That's
like the
553 and
Yeah,
That's what
the
I use,
white-
553, and that's an 066.
Yes, 553, yeah, that's,
I mean, I stopped using it after a while because it sort of was not being consistent in batches, not as having great issues.
I had more problems with recycling it. And then when I called them, I found what you had to do is you have to buy a bag of dry clay and you have to mix the dry with the recycle, and I haven't had a single problem since I got the recycle down.
I had to have my clay shipped in 2 barrels because Standard's not making their clay fast enough. So I don't know what's going on with that, which concerns me because Campbell's, that happened to Campbell's right before they
Yeah.
went to fund. So I don't know what's going on with that.
okay, so we should probably order.
FYI. Yeah, so what you're ordering, make sure that whoever you're ordering it from has the amount that you need. Because I had to, because it took me a month, 2 months to get clay
Okay.
from it. So I don't know what's going on, and he didn't really have an answer. So,
Okay. All right, so I will find out what I can, trying to find a white grog stoneware. Hopefully Standard has something. If not, I'll, the guy, there's also a guy from North Carolina, the North Carolina Zoo project that I gave you the information about. I talked to that guy. Talk about good old boys. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But the guy who did it, he didn't know what kind of clay he had, so he told me to call his distributor, and I've talked to his distributor a couple times, and
They don't remember, do they?
well, no, I mean, he says he's looking through the paper, he actually is looking through the paperwork to find it for me. I just need to call him again and remind him that I need it. But I mean, he's speaking English, I think. It's somewhere in North Carolina. He's a hoot. So, but I will be getting the information as to what they're using, and they're doing, on the metal pole. That's the one that they had stacked up on the metal pole. And their pieces are huge because it was like a 10-inch metal pole, and then they were massive.
there's an article in a magazine not too long ago about this Gulf Breeze arch that somebody constructed. Anybody see that article? I can find it, I have the magazine.
Okay.
And find out which that person used. It was a woman. It's a giant arch that she was standing under.
Oh, where is it?
Forget. I'll look for it.
I know those Florida people.
Florida, maybe?
Florida doesn't help.
Yeah, Florida
Yeah,
doesn't help.
Florida doesn't help. We need
Okay.
Minnesota.
I'll have to look.
I got that
Montana.
recipe. I got that recipe
Who knows
from
someone in
Minnesota.
Boston?
Yeah.
Who goes far
So,
in Boston?
Okay, so does anybody else have any other questions that I can either answer or research and find the answer for you?
I think we're all kind of stuck in the same thing, how, because depending on the clay will determine the overall thickness, the structure, or, the integrity of it. So I think, we probably need to, when you get on that, if, and just ask them to send you free bags of it or free boxes of it. They'll send you free clay. And then, if there's a Saturday, I'd be willing to come and, get a Saturday where we can just, as the teacher's doing this, make something put together, because I'm one of those, before I start a kid project, I gotta have an idea. I know what I want to see as a finished project at the
Right.
end. So I'm more concerned about just the overall structure, the application, the weight, the size, and putting this thing together. Once I'm confident that, I know what I want to see, I can push these guys wherever I want them to go.
I also have a concern about the size of the thing. Smaller would be better. The diameter.
Well, we have some conversations
Yeah.
with the, yeah.
We can go forward.
Huh?
You can go full structural.
Yeah.
So,
Are we going for them for all?
No, I mean, I think that's up to either.
so this is,
Very
okay, we're
quick.
doing either.
Yeah,
Then you want to
yeah.
know
So
whenever
we
you
get a
so
choice.
thin that
So when
I just
kids are
thought-
building these are 3.5 and 4.5.
punch it and break
Right.
it, so it's got
In
to be
actual
thick enough to
size.
maintain well.
So whatever they
10
install
pounds, that's not a lot of
after
extra
these
clay.
pieces shrink, if they built them to fit this,
Well, so
whatever's
what
going
I'm
in,
gonna do is I'm gonna
fit
just
Your
play
neighborhood,
around
yes.
and say,
So we'll count on you.
yeah. And the thing is, if we do the foam, which I think is an excellent idea, and there's space,
Then we
then
just
we
have
just
the
fill the,
space.
we just make it
just
so it's
give
a
it
lot
some
bigger.
room.
And you know, the other thing is if you were to buy a cap for these, that's probably how much it'll shrink. So if you were to take the cap and cut that out of your pieces, that would probably then fit.
Oh, the
Or
outside
if
and
we
the
just
outside.
determine what the
Yeah.
shrinkage of the
The clay body.
clay,
Yes.
then just get a
Yeah.
shrinkage ruler.
Right.
Right.
Just use a shrinkage ruler on those. That will make it larger
Yeah.
and we'll just do that.
So.
We should be standardized where each school should be doing like the same, type of size of everything.
Well, once we
get it
figure out, then we
yeah,
can
once
tell
we get clay,
everybody.
Get it
Yeah, right.
standardized.
So you were talking about, getting together as far as the teachers get together. So of course, we didn't say that you have to do this, but my students, after they get their, they do their planning sketch for their final, they're all doing minis. Okay,
Right.
before we turn in this, everything has to be tried out. So I'm going to have at least 6 mini ones ready to go, just so we can see how they stack and if they decide to do something. Because like the one with the habitat, the snake has to flow from one to the next, and I want them to figure that out before. Are they going to bevel the edge so it stacks like that, or what is it they're going to do? So that's just a suggestion, and the kids actually thought that they would feel better before they did a big piece to do a mini one. Especially when we did this. This one was just like, oh, you're done with your project? Here, I need this made. Here's the, I have the cardboard tubes. I need a 3-inch something. Just do it. Just so I had something to show you guys. But then when I did this and they saw me putting it together, like, oh, okay.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, they get it. Yeah, some of them are visual too.
Stephanie, you're asking for these drawings, but I'm wondering, is it okay if they're actually doing minis to prove
Provide
that?
those.
If
Photograph
you've got
those.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at Wendy's sketches here and some things that they put together. So I wouldn't mind seeing if I'm the one judging any of the additional documentation that the students have done.
Well, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I mean,
Because that actually will tell me more sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
it's
think I
better
was
because
just
my kids are
reading-
thinking two-dimensional. I need them to see all the way around the
Right.
thing.
Exactly.
I mean,
want to know what
oh,
they're
here's
walking
what-
into if they're putting incredible detail, knowing that with one kid, they might
You
get all
can't-
6 done at the time it takes you to do one small one.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean, I was at one point thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had to just submit the pictures of the minis or the actual minis?
Minis would be cool.
I just don't know
Right.
if everybody would be.
I think you
I think making
were
them-
able to submit, so.
Yeah.
So this is the minimum. So maybe I should say this is the minimum,
Yeah.
but a lot of people will be submitting either a photograph or the actual
And
minis.
Yeah, my kids would probably
Ideally, I-
prefer to do the minis than the
Yeah.
Once we get the clay figured out, I'd love to do a mini with the proper stain or on-go we're gonna put on the surface and the
Right.
finish, so then we can get at least a model of what
Right.
the finish will look
Yeah,
like.
that done by November.
No, but I'm just saying, eventually we could work
Right.
it in doing, even if we just do one with the right color scheme, because right now I could do it with the underglazes and the glazes I have, but it might look different
Yeah.
when we pick a different material. And so I don't want it to be substantially different, so I would have the kids leave it blank now, but color could be a big part of their composition.
I was going to ask that question. I thought in the packet that it was possible that the colors were going to be selected because you could have like 2 from this school and somehow that's all they have and it's grouped with 3 from another and 5. And that the color was going to be kind of pushed, like stay in this range or?
I didn't, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that
color,
wasn't
so-
it was really going to be up to each individual school,
Okay, that's great.
so.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Presentation, is that something that we're gonna be, are we just submitting that to you and then you're presenting, or are the kids
Oh, no, I'm
presenting,
taking it, I'm just collecting all of them since, and then I will take them all over to Strathmore.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
more sculptures we can give you, the better, no.
Yeah.
More you will love us.
As far as color goes, is it just the angles and the stands? No.
No, the angles and the
glazes?
stains are, okay, well, the angle, those are, they will work, okay?
Yep.
Glaze, if any water, if there's any pinhole that gets under a glaze, the glaze will pop
But you
off.
talked about sealing it with marine.
Okay, yeah, now there's a couple, there's this stuff called hydroclay, I don't know where I put my notes, hydroclay. There's a couple of things, again, that's another thing that I've been researching is what to cover it with. You know, there's some that last like 3 to 5 years, there's some that last a year, so I'm trying to find the longest lasting whatever to seal it. And I've been, from what I can tell, that's the best way of going.
Got it.
That is a good question about color, though, and I guess that might be a question for you. Is that something that you think you would like for them to submit, like at least a proposal for colors?
There should be some way to designate what colors.
Maybe we should have on this is that it's not just this, guys, but you also have to color it in.
There should
Yeah.
be some way to designate
Yeah.
colors so one knows what is in the artist's mind.
Okay, so I'll put that note out there that go ahead and include the color in your drawing.
And what is it as far as budget wise?
It's going to depend on the materials they're choosing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll all add it into the budget will be signed because we want
Okay.
people to know that this is a project.
Sure.
This is what
Because the second we start adding the color and everything, that's when
Oh, this is what
Yeah,
Kevin
we-
did in
it gets
Minnesota.
more
We would like to
expensive.
keep it under control.
Kevin Del Medina, you did
Because
the.
it all has to be
select
donated.
the wearable
Come back to
colors.
this. Would you like
It's been
all
outside
common
since then.
glazes so they have a consistency, or do you want
Wood.
each
What
one
is
to be an
it?
independent?
You know what,
That's
to
what-
be honest, you should see what
So
the
it's 1,800,
recommendations
it's
are.
Yeah, and then
And go
go
from
from
there.
And one of the things that we were talking about doing too is creating a wall. So I'd already asked Jeff Chung about doing that on our new website, because we have a Fine Arts website.
Oh, that's
We're going to
great.
create a page
Oh,
for
will
this
you send that to me?
Oh,
project.
that'd be good.
So that we
So
can
we can
share
all keep
resources.
together.
Right,
And
so
it's
if
a-
you're
is it
using
bus or white?
colors, you can post these are colors you can get using.
Okay.
You know, even post designs, what students are doing, so everybody can kind of get a sense of what's happening with each other. So that's on, Jeff Chung is going to be doing that for you on the website.
Right, I just haven't, I've had,
Don't even worry about it. He knows that you want it, and he'll work with you to get it up. So we're looking
Yeah.
at making a separate page for this project. And he said he will use that form that normally is on there, the announcements as your blog.
okay,
So people can actually post right on there.
okay, great. Yeah, he's at Wingate, which is
Yeah.
4
right
blocks
down
from
the
my
street.
house. I just haven't,
And if you like, we can make you all moderators on that so that you can contribute. So I just need to make sure I have all the teachers' names.
okay, I have that. We'll send that to you.
I actually.
Yeah, I do. Where do you live?
Oh, the next one.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, the modern section? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I live way over.
Thank you, Suzanne.
You are willing to